All rise.
Hey, good morning. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to kick this thing off. I'm going to recognize Commissioner Bailey for today's preacher.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our October meeting. First, I'd like to welcome Mr. Jim Beckett for your first meeting in your role as Public Utility Staff Director.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure to introduce Reverend Scott Larson. He's a senior pastor of Brandon First United Methodist Church, been married for 31 years to Kathy Parker Larson, and they've raised 4 children. For Mr. Scott, ministry is not just a job, but his life mission to help each person find God's grace. In addition to pastoring, he works as a leadership coach at Spiritual Leadership, Inc., and apparently he greatly loves participating in the outdoors. We're so happy to have him here today and share us the good word, and with today's agenda, we probably need all the spirit we need. Please join us.
Well, let's pray together. Our Father and God, we thank you so much for the honor of gathering in your presence this day and for your gracious hand that has guided each one of us here. We thank you that we have this great privilege to stop just a moment and to recognize that you are good, that your mercies are new every morning, that your love for us and through us is unending, that your care for all those who are protected and serviced by this commission and each one of these organizations is felt. And Lord, give us this day, we ask, your spirit of wisdom. Give us a mind of clarity, a heart of humility, as each decision is made. We ask that you lead us into your presence as we thank you for the honor of leadership and are reminded of what it says in the scriptures, to whom much is given, much is required. So we give ourselves to you this day, knowing that you are our shepherd and that with you we have all that we need. I ask that you bless the families of each leader represented here. Make sure that everyone knows that they are never alone, but that you are always with us and you always provide for us. And so we pray, God's strength to pilot us, God's might to uphold us, God's wisdom to guide us, God's eye to look before us, God's ear to hear us, God's word to speak for us, God's hand to guard us, God's shield to protect us, God's heart to center us, and God's love to lead us on. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Lawson.
Thank you, sir. We're going to get started with the consent agenda. Adoption of proposed consent docket for October 2022 meeting of the commission.
I move we approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, next is the energy agenda. Discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2013 UN 178, Entergy Mississippi LLC, interim adjustments for energy cost factor and power management cost adjustment factor. Mr. Mabry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, on September 2nd, EML filed an interim adjustment to the energy cost factor, ECF, along with a revised attachment A to energy cost recovery rider, Schedule ECR4 revised, and an interim adjustment to the power management cost adjustment factor, PCF, along with a revised attachment A to power management rider, Schedule PMR13. With such interim adjustments to be effective with the first billing cycle of October 2022, with monthly incremental revisions through February of 2023 and remaining in place until changed in accordance with the provisions of the approved tariffs. As of July 31st, EML had a deferred fuel balance of $291 million and a deferred PMR balance of negative $51 million for a total net under recovery of approximately $241 million. EML anticipates a deferred fuel under recovery balance by year end of approximately $397 million. Without action by the Commission or EML, this would result in an approximate $30 increase to residential customers' bills in February of 2023. This interim rate is a step to mitigate the impact of the fuel under recovery, along with approximately $200 million from the Commission's settlement with Siri on June 23rd. The funds from the settlement cut what would have otherwise been an approximately $30 increase for residential customers in February of 2023 in half to $14.85. To avoid rate shock, the interim rate, as filed in September, will allow an incremental increase of $2.97 per month from October of 2022 to February of 2023, culminating in the total increase of $14.85 in February of next year. After meeting with the Commission, EML proposes the following adjustments to the September 2nd filing. 1, recover a natural gas fuel rate that is better aligned with the current prices, and 2, recover the under-recovered fuel balance as of September 30th, 2022, over a period of 20 months. The estimated deferred fuel balance as of September 30th, 2022 is approximately $142 million after including the $200 million from the series settlement. Beginning in November of 2022, recovery would occur over a 20-month period for the $142 million total through June of 2024. At the end of the 20-month period, any remaining over or under recovery of that deferred fuel balance would be reflected in EML's overall deferred fuel balance and true up in EML's November 2023 ECR redetermination. The deferred fuel balance in EML's November 2023 ECR annual redetermination will reflect any amounts that were over or under recovered after September of 2022. The total impact of the newly proposed interim adjustments on the typical residential customer using 1,000 kilowatt hours per month is an increase of $15.35 to be phased in with incremental increases of $2.50 each month, beginning November of 2022 and continuing through April of 2023. The impact of the PCF interim adjustment for the typical residential customer using 1,000 kilowatt hours per month is a decrease of $3.33 to be phased in with incremental reductions of 55 cents each month beginning November of 2022 and continuing through April of 2023. So that's a total of $2.01 increase. The net impact of the ECF and PCF interim adjustments for the typical residential customer using 1,000 kilowatt hours per month in February of 2023 is a net increase of $12.02. Staff recommends that EML file these proposed adjustments in a compliance filing to mirror today's proposed order issued by the Commission. If it so chooses, staff recommends approval of the proposed adjustments.
Okay, is there any question?
One question, what are we setting the gas price at in this?
$6.
And I'm looking at a NYMEX forward curve that was provided by one of the gas companies that shows that in March of 2023 and April, gas is projected to be at $4.91. So y'all are taking into account the possibility of, at that factor, having an over-recovery in there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We are.
Is there, and if what I'm looking at is right, and you said it was set at what now, 6?
Yeah, we set it at 6.
Okay. So that trend, as I'm looking at the NYMEX future, goes to throughout November of 2023, still staying in that $5 to $5 range. My concern on this is that obviously we can't predict what the natural gas markets are going to do. And in looking forward, there's examples in the state of Georgia where the Georgia PSC held out these type of charges. I mean, these are monopoly utilities. They're going to get recovery of this money. It's a matter of how we spread that out to help the customers absorb it, and they're going to have to absorb it. We know that. But when you spoke a minute ago about the $12.02, you're speaking to that, Sam, as a cumulative number.
Exactly.
That's not a per month.
It's $2.01
That's right.
building up to $12.02.
Correct. How are we going to, and I'm gonna vote for this, I just want to get it on the record, because how are we going to deal with, how, are we going to monthly monitor that impact related to, I mean, let's just say tomorrow, if, you know, the Lord blessed us and natural gas went to $3 an MCF, and we're looking at that. I mean, I think it would just be incumbent upon all of us to try to make sure we're looking at that as a way to spread some of this out further. There are examples in this country where commissions have taken these type of under recoveries, recognizing the economic impact they have, and spreading those out. And I know it's I won't say it's a game of marbles, but it's sort of moving things around. I just want to make sure we're clear about that there will possibly be an over recovery in the spring that will offset this, and that we can just be as quick as we possibly can to get that adjustment back in for customers.
That's correct. As it's scheduled now, we'd address it in November of next year, any over recovery, but we could do it before then.
Yeah, I just think it would be smart to look at it, maybe let this go 4 months, look at what gas prices are. If it's providing an over recovery, flow those monies back, and if we can get that $2 down a little bit, it'd be helpful. So that's all my question.
Okay. Any further questions?
I think you hit on the right point there that, you know, I appreciate Energy being flexible and working with the staff and trying to determine ways to ride out this you know, increase in the market still. The natural gas markets tend to settle down a little bit, and a little more certainty in what that looks like from the domestic side as well as the international side. Just want to reiterate, and I think Commissioner Presley mentioned that the utilities absolutely have a right to recover these, you know, prudently incurred fuel costs, and that, and also remind that these pass-through costs are not, there's not earnings attached to them, and this is a one-to-one pass-through cost. Am I correct on that?
Right.
Yeah. So I just want
I mean,
to reiterate that point that sometimes gets lost in the conversation.
And I guess one of the danger zones is there is carrying cost related to that, which you could akin to interest, that if we do delay it too far out, those may surmount the savings
That's
on the
correct.
carrying cost.
And I'm working with EML right now, so you're looking at $140 million being reduced each month with each payment. So the carrying costs are going to continually go down. We're looking to get exact numbers on what the carrying cost would look like, but it's going to be minimal at the way it's set right now. But I can get you those exact numbers later.
Fine. Thank you.
Do I have a motion? Or more questions?
I have no more questions.
You go ahead. No, I don't care.
Okay. Motion to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. Next one, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2015 UN 049 Atmos Energy Corporation in the matter of comprehensive review of Atmos Energy Corporation's proposed capital budget for fiscal year 2023. Mr. Mabry.
Sir. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, on March 1st, Atmos filed its annual comprehensive review of its proposed capital budget for fiscal year 2023 under its System Integrity Rider, or SIR. As required by tariff, the company made an SIR compliance filing on July 1st. In combination with their stable rate adjustment filing, the purpose of the SIR compliance filing is to update the March filing calculations to incorporate the latest stable rate inputs so the new SIR rates can be reviewed and approved along with stable rate factors. As part of its review, staff retained both Accufax and Larson and Associates to assist with the review of the March 2022 filing, including system integrity budget and projects. After reviewing several sets of data request responses and a follow-up conference call with Atmos, both consultants presented staff with reports which were filed with the Commission on September 29th. Overall, Accufax and Larkin's review concluded that the $89.455 million of system integrity spending proposed by Atmos for fiscal year 2023 is justified and should be approved. Also, the staff and Atmos agreed that the company will review the findings of the Accufax and Larkin reports and will file a response to the recommendations contained in those reports within 30 days. The total revenue requirement for the March 1st filing was approximately $54.8 million. Once all adjustments were taken into account, the compliance filing total revenue requirement was approximately $54.6 million. The company and staff executed a joint stipulation on September 29th, confirming the total revenue requirement, which results in an incremental revenue requirement of $8.56 million. The SRR rate impact for an average residential customer using 5 MCS per month will be an increase of $1.90 per month. Staff has reviewed the filings, the reports of Accufax and Larson, and the company's data responses, and determined that the requested SRR projects and the related revenue requirement appear to be reasonable. Staff recommends approval of the order adopting the joint stipulation.
Any questions?
I move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 3, the discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2005 UN 503 Atmos Energy Corporation, notice of intent of Atmos Energy Corporation to change rates for natural gas in its certified areas to modify certain provisions of its rider, Schedule 327 Stable Rate Adjustment Rider. Mr. Mabry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, on July 1st, Atmos filed their annual stable rate filing for the 12 months ended March 31st, 2022, requesting a revenue adjustment increase of $15.7 million. In addition, Atmos filed to adjust its capital structure after the end date of the settlement made with the staff in its 2019 filing. During its review, staff recommended certain adjustments to the company's filing. Staff identified reductions to rate base totaling $1.37 million and reduction to O&M costs totaling $1.44 million. The O&M expense adjustment includes incentive compensation of $1.1 million and $332,000 for other direct and allocated expenses adjusted by staff. These, along with several other smaller adjustments, result in a revenue adjustment increase of $12.2 million, down from the requested $15.7 million. Atmos Energy and staff agree for the purposes of settlement to set rates in the 2022 stable rate filing based on the capital structure as filed by Atmos Energy and a performance-adjusted ROE of 9.94%. For purposes of any future stable rate filing that may be authorized by the Commission, Atmos Energy agrees to use the DCF and regression analysis outlined in the stable rate tariff to calculate the ROE in a manner consistent with those of the other investor-owned utilities in Mississippi. In order to accomplish this goal, Atmos Energy agrees to use an independent third-party consultant consistent with other investor-owned utilities to calculate the company's ROE for use in the annual stable rate filing. If necessary, Atmos will file a compliance filing in this docket on or before February 1st of 2023 to incorporate any changes to be effective beginning with the 2023 stable rate filing and going forward. Staff's review has resulted in approximately $3 million in reductions to the revenue requirement, along with a 50 basis point lowering of the ROE. This SRA filing results in a projected monthly rate increase to a typical residential customer of approximately $3.04. Coupled with the $1.90 increase from SIR, Atmos residential customers will receive a $4.94 increase beginning in November. Staff has reviewed the filing and supporting documentation and is satisfied that the results as stipulated represent a fair and reasonable revenue requirement. Staff recommends approval of the order adopting the stipulation.
Any questions?
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The next one, discussion and possible actions regarding the proposed order in docket number 2022 UN 101, Atmos Energy Corporation, notice of intent to request routine change in rate schedules, gas service policy, and policy for extension of gas facilities. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, on August 4th, Atmos Energy submitted a notice of intent to make changes to its rate schedules on file with the Commission. It also sought to make changes to its gas service policy and policy for extension of gas facilities. The changes proposed by Atmos can be summarized in 4 categories: elimination of rate schedules under which no customer is currently taking service. This includes the elimination of 3 rate schedules that lack any customer participation. Number 2, closing certain schedules to new business while offering more simplistic rate schedules. Atmos is proposing to close 6 rate schedules for commercial and industrial customers and replace it with 2 modernized rate schedules. Importantly, Atmos will not close the 6 older schedules immediately, but will stop taking new business on the schedules as of November 1st of this year. Third, closing certain schedules without replacement. Atmos is proposing to eliminate its heating season only residential gas service rider and heating season only general gas service rider and implement a twice-a-year payment for customers going forward. This lowers the total amount paid by seasonal customers going forward. Atmos proposed to close these rates to new business on November 1st of this year, leaving customers currently under the tariff unaffected. Number 4, changes to Atmos's service policies, and for policy extension of services, the main change Atmos is proposing to these services is the removal of miscellaneous charges for gas service policies and replacing them with a single $100 charge for reestablishing disconnected service. Staff recommends approval of the order adopting these changes.
Any questions?
Most of these changes are termed to be revenue neutral, correct?
They're all revenue neutral.
All of them?
Yes, sir.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we're going to move over to telecommunications agenda. Number 1, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2022 UA111 T-Mobile South LLC, order confirming T-Mobile's relinquishment of its lifeline-only eligible telecommunications carrier designation. Mr. Jones.
Chairman, Commissioners, T-Mobile has filed a petition to relinquish their lifeline-only ETC designation in the state. They were originally designated back in 2020. They are now seeking to release, they're going to focus on offering their own low-cost services in lieu of the lifeline services. They filed to relinquish in several other states, Virginia, Florida. Those are effective December 31st, 2022, and they're also asking for this to go into effect, the relinquishment of the Mississippi ETC designation for December 31st, 2022. They're offering low-cost service plans such as Connect by T-Mobile, which offers talk, text, and high-speed data starting at $10 a month. It offers talk, and also it's $10.7 billion investment over 5 years in Project 10 Million, which offers individual students and school districts free internet access of 100 gigabytes per year and mobile hotspots for 10 million eligible households. Assurance Wireless is an affiliate of T-Mobile. They're still offering lifeline services in Mississippi. They provide advance notice. They're going to assist their remaining customers, their lifeline customers, to migrate to other carriers. And staff's reviewed it and recommends the Commission approve the petition to relinquish the lifeline ET designation effective December 31st, 2022.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next is discussion and possible action regarding 2023 USF utilization plans filed by high-cost eligible telecommunications carrier 2000 AD 40 Bell South / AT&T Mississippi. Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Commissioners, AT&T Bell South, they did not file a universal service plan this year because they received no money in 2022 and expected to receive none in 2023. They did file their certified 481 with the USAC in here. Bell South, they were a rate of return CAF Phase 2 support, and they received that beginning in 2019. It ended, their support ended at the end of the year 2021. They have met their build-out obligations under that by 29%. They exceeded the build-out obligations under the Connect America Fund Phase 2 obligation. So they're in compliance with the filings that are required for them to be recertified, that they use their 2021 funds as the manner as expected and required under law.
Any questions?
I got one. So, but the 29% addition to their compliance is what they're asserting, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it's on USAC reported data,
Right.
from hub data.
And I know this precedes your time, but the commission on September 29th, 2020, asked the FCC for an investigation into this and cited concrete specific examples based on a subpoena that was issued and the documents received from that subpoena related to it. And I just wanted to be clear for the record that this is their assertion that they have completed that over 29% of it, or they exceeded 29%, but that's not been verified by the FCC related to it, and that there were obvious mistakes within their filing. But we're basing today's vote on their submission in 2021. I think it was 233,000 households they had to cover. And they're saying that they're 29% over those 233,000.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's what the USAC data reports.
Thank you, sir.
Any further questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion to staff, accept staff recommendation, recertification.
Do I have a second? I'll second it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Ayes have it. All right, next one is 2001 UA 451 Sailor South Licenses LLC. Mr. Jones.
Commissioners, Sailor South License, also known as C-Spire, they're a wireless company. They received in their funding as a certified eligible carrier in 2021. Their high-cost support, they spent it, actually, they're on pace to receive $45 million for 2022, 2023. They received a like amount in 2021. They're in compliance with FCC Order 2150, which requires to spend 1/3 of their high-cost support to build out for 5G and 2/3 in 2023. They've, in compliance with those requirements, they filed their 481 and their plan for 2023, and staff has reviewed it and recommends that they be recertified.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next is 2001 AD 573, the 16 rural carriers, all listed within the order. Mr. Jones.
They are, Mr. Chairman, Bay Springs Telephone, Bruce Telephone Company, Calhoun City Telephone Company, CenturyTel, North Mississippi, Decatur Telephone Company, Franklin Telephone Company, which Delta is part of, Frontier, Fulton, Georgetown, Mound Bayou, Myrtle, Noxapater, Sledge, Smithville, Southeast Mississippi Telephone Company, and Windstream. They're all rural carriers. They're in compliance with the filing of their UCF plan for 2023 and submitted how they utilize their high-cost support for 2021. They also filed their certified 481 as required under the law. And they're in compliance, and the state staff recommends they be recertified for the 2023 high-cost support year.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, next one, 2003 UA 165 TEC of Jackson. Mr. Jones.
Tech of Jackson, commissioners, they receive federal high-cost support. They also are RDOF recipient. They began receiving their first disbursements of RDOF money back on January 2022. The first build-out requirement related to that is 40% completion by the end of 2025 for them. They're in compliance. They filed their certified 481s and their annual report with the commission, and the staff would recommend that they be recertified as eligible ETC for the upcoming funding year.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next one is 2003 UA 457 Telepac Networks LLC, Mr. Jones.
Ceasefire Fiber also. Telepac received high-cost support back in 2021. It ended on May 2021, their high-cost support. They're not expecting to receive any in 2022 throughout this year, and they don't expect to receive any high-cost funding in 2023. However, they did submit a 2023 USF utilization plan, and they're going to focus on continuing to offer telecom services in high-cost areas in Mississippi, and fiber, of course, the fiber to the home. They're a lifeline provider, and they also filed their 481 certified timely with USAC and met all other filing requirements for ETC recertification. So staff recommends that they be recertified.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next is 2005 UA 174, New Singular Wireless, Mr. Jones.
Also known as AT&T Mobility. AT&T Mobility has met the filing requirements this year with their USF plan and also filing the federal 481 on time. Staff's reviewed their responses and their filings and find that they're in compliance and recommend that they be recertified as an ETC for the 2023 funding year.
Any questions?
One question. What's the amount of subsidies that AT&T is getting in this filing?
Yes, sir, I got that right here. They, had it at my fingertips. $45 million,
45 million for this?
705,000.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions?
Motion approved recommendation recertification.
Do I have a second? I'll second it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Ayes have it.
Let me correct that, 41 million, I misread it, it's 41 million.
Thank you.
Next, 2018 UA 188, Viasat Carrier Services LLC, Mr. Jones.
Viasat is a Connect America Fund Phase 2 recipient. They have been approved by the commission as an ETC, deploy satellite broadband and voice services in 13,000 unserved locations in Mississippi for $520,000 and some odd cents in annual support. They have a build-out requirement they must meet by the end of year 3, which is in this case the end of this year, December 31st, 2022. They have a deployment milestone of 40% completion. The USAC data, they haven't reported their progress, so you can't find out really what they've met or what they have not met. They're currently not offering services in Mississippi as we speak. They have filed their certified 481s and all other required filings. They received a waiver by the commission of filing a USF utilization plan for this year. They're in compliance so far. Their build-out is due, their progress at the end of the year. So we'll see them. But based on what we filed, or what they filed, and what we reviewed, they're in compliance. And we recommend that they be recertified as ATC for the 2023 funding year.
Any questions?
I hate to keep asking questions on these, but on Viasat,
Yes, sir.
it's been a source of a lot of consumer complaints. Do we know how many customers they actually have in the state of Mississippi?
Let's see, Commissioner. No, sir.
Okay. And we don't know if they've met their threshold for the 40% build-out by the end of the year.
We won't know that until next year when they post the data.
Can the commission condition the ETC recertification based on revisiting that by the end of the year? Is there some kind of hedge of protection we can put in there? Because I'm not convinced in my dealings with this company.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I was here when we gave them the first ETC designation, and Ms. Chandler, who's, I think, worked with y'all on this, this was a very drawn-out issue. They've got to provide telephone service in which There was, I think we went 6 or 8 months finally getting a test in which that could in fact work. How would y'all suggest that we protect the taxpayers on this and not, you know, I don't like approving things in which we're saying emphatically in the meeting, we don't know, and that they've not filed anything. So
Yes, sir. Well,
if they don't have any customers, all this delay in ETC designation will do is kick that out a calendar quarter, until such time as they can satisfy the commission's order. Am I right?
that's correct. I mean, they're in compliance with the filings.
We just don't know about their
We just
build-out
don't.
milestone.
That's correct. I don't see any reason to hold it up or condition it on that. I think next year, when this comes back for recertification, and you look at that data, if they hadn't met their 40% build-out requirement, at that point, I would recommend the commission take some action on it. But that's my opinion on it, Commissioner.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any further questions? Do I have a motion?
I move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next, 2018 UA 224, Aristotle Unified Communications, Mr. Jones.
Commissioners, Aristotle's another company that's not yet providing service. They've received their high-cost funding, RDOF, and CAF2 funding. But for the RDOF funding, they hadn't provided any service yet. Their build-out requirement is, first deployment obligation is 40% by December 21st, 2025. They had no build-out obligations to meet 2021. So this is another where they've got some time. And based on what they did file, I recommend you all recertify them for the 2023 year.
And the central difference is different fund, different timeline, different milestone.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next one, 2020 UA 216 East Mississippi Connect LLC, Mr. Jones.
Commissioners, East Mississippi was designated by the board as an ETC on April 6, 2021. They're an all RDOF recipient, and they're in all 3 districts. They're in Clark, Kemper, Lauderdale, and Winston County. They'll be using approximately $38 million in RDOF funds over the next 10 years. They received their first disbursement in December of 2021, and they expect to receive $3.8 million over the next every year during the build-out and the funding of the program. They have no milestone obligations to reach in 2021. Their first deployment obligation milestone of 40% is December 31st, 2025. Currently, they're offering life aligned services. They were not required to file a Form 481 this year, because that was the date the FCC, when they approved each RDOF, a group of them at a time, the deadlines for filing their 481 differed for these companies, several different ones. So they didn't have to file one this year. However, they did file an annual report as required by Mississippi, y'all's Docket 2005 AD 662, including the certifications required in a revised ETC checklist. So reviewing those, I recommend that you all approve them for recertification for the 2023 funding year.
Motion to accept recertification recommendation.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next one, 2020 UA 217 Delta Fiber LLC, Mr. Jones.
Commissioner, Delta Fiber is in the same position as East. They're both RDOF recipients. Delta's in the North and Central District. They weren't required to file a 481 this year, but they did file their certifications under the previous order of commission. They function in emergency, those delineated things, 9 different things. And they filed their annual report. And so they're in compliance with all their filings, and they have a build-out obligation of 40% in December 2025. So based on their filings so far and review of them, I recommend that the commission approve them and recertify them for 2023.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next is 2021 UA4 Connexon.
Connection.
Conexon.
Yes, sir. Connection Connect,
Go ahead, Ms. Jones.
they're an RDOF recipient, and they received their first payments this year, first disbursements. They received a waiver from Philip, to file a build-out, or USF plan that was in their order. They have the same requirements of build-out as the other two fiber carriers that receive RDOF funding. So I recommend that they be approved as an ETC for the 2023 year also.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next, 2021 UA53 Windstream Communications LLC, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir. Windstream is another company that's received prior high-cost support, and but their funds ended for the Connect America cost model in 2021. However, they applied and received RDOF funding, and their first disbursement was in January 2022. Windstream's filed their UCF utilization report. They filed their 481, and they filed their eligibility certification checklist as required. And I recommend that they be certified for 2023 funding year.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I got one question before we go off of telecommunications. Tim, I haven't seen, and I know that FastNet, which is being provided by Fort County Electric Power Association, it's in multiple districts, and those usually come before the commission as a whole. They're not included in, and so they got a pretty huge RDOF award. I know you got Noxubee County, Mr. Bailey. The rest of them are my folks, so. I know we won't be coming back to meet, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, sir. Is it DE Fastlink?
No, sir.
Do they go by any other name? We've got 23 on the list.
FastNet,
4C FastNet.
For county fiber.
yes, sir. They're DBA's FastNet, and I think they're legal. as
They're in
4C.
compliance. They should, you see where they are on the list. They are in compliance. They should be on this list, commissioners.
Is there a docket number to that? I mean, I move we approve it. I just didn't want them.
Yes, there is.
I didn't want, I'm useful for something every once in a while.
Glad you caught that. Let me find their docket number.
Okay. I move that we redesignate Fort County Fiber LLC, DBA 4C FastNet, in docket number 2021 UA006, redesignate them as an ETC. Staff does recommend that, correct?
Yes, we
Okay.
do. They filed its 481. They complied with all annual certification requirements. They received their first RDOF disbursement in September 2021. It's anticipated they receive a like amount of money, which is $3.5 million respectively for 2022 and 2023. And they filed everything they were supposed to. We recommend they be recertified.
Thank you, sir. I move we approve that.
Second.
Well,
We got a third in there.
I'm sorry.
Enthusiastic.
I was excited. No, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
Before you move on, just real quick, in the Central District, as you well know, is a lot of territory that is not covered by a rural electric cooperative or is covered by a cooperative that has chosen at this point in time not to pursue a broadband subsidiary. So which leaves few options out there for commercial utilization or accessing broadband. But I do get a lot of questions around Starlink and where we may be in that process. And I know we're not reviewing that today, but could you provide a quick update of where things are in regards to that company's offerings?
Starlink's long form application for RDOF funding. I mean, they were awarded some bids, and the final part of the process is the FCC to approve their long form application. Well, the Wireless Bureau, the Wireline Bureau denied it. They heard comments from all the different, over the technology and certain policy reasons. Right now, it stands that it's being appealed before the full commission right now. Starlink's filed their appeal. We have a case pending on the docket in front of the commission. It's kind of in a posture to wait to see what the FCC does with it and go from there. Only one other state, California's approved them already in the face of the FCC denying them so far. But that's the only one that I've found.
Appreciate that.
Yes,
And the argument in that, just to be clear for whoever's listening, is that in states that do not exercise jurisdiction on designating ETCs, that defaults to the FCC. And when we took the action that we took to not approve them as an ETC, it was in response to the fact that they would have to receive FCC loan form approval, which is a intensive engineering exercise, if you want to call it that.
it is.
And eventually, the Wireline Competition Bureau denied that that loan form application based on comments of others. The hearing officer did. And all our order simply does is holds that in abeyance until such time as the FCC acts. So that we're not, I just want to be clear about this, because I've taken some heat over the last couple of years about us holding that up. We're not holding that up. We're simply defaulting to the FCC to make that approval, and once they make that approval, it will be ripe at that time for the commission to take it up. Is that correct?
That's correct. The thing about it is, until they finish that process, they can't even, the funds wouldn't be dispersed to them anyway.
Correct. Thank you.
Maybe keep us up to speed as it progresses along.
Will do, Chairman.
All right, thank you. So now we're going to move on to the administrative agenda. Discussion and possible action regarding approval of commission minutes for the September 2022 term of the commission. Any questions?
I move we approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next is discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2022 UA89 Fable Solar LLC order of referral. Mr. Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a petition for a solar generating facility in Stone County. The order before you refers it to you for hearing.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 3 is discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2022 UA90 Sunflower Solar LLC order of referral. Mr. Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a petition for a solar generating facility in George County. The order before you refers it to you for hearing.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 4, discussion and possible action regarding proposed order in docket number 2022 UA120 City of Olive Branch order of referral. Mr. Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a petition filed by the City of Olive Branch for a supplemental certificate expanding its footprint to subdivision. The order before you refers it to Stephanie Taylor for hearing.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Number 5, discussion of possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2022 UN123 special contract between Mississippi Power Company, Maker Star Capital Incorporated, and Wiggins, Mississippi. Order of referral. Mr. Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Like you mentioned, this is a special contract between Mississippi Power and Maker Star in Wiggins, Mississippi. The order before you refers it to you for hearing.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Number 6 is discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2022 UN124 special contract between Mississippi Power Company and Maker Star Capital, Inc. in Meridian, Mississippi. Order of referral. Mr. Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a similar special contract to the previous agenda item. The order before you refers it to Commissioner Bailey for hearing.
Move we approve.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Ayes have it. Number 7 is Discussion and possible action on docket number 2002 UA 157, National Directory Assistance LLC, voluntary petition to cancel certificate of public convenience and necessity. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. The order in front of you is going to cancel the certificate that was issued to National Directory Assistance, which I'm going to call NDA, that was issued in this docket on May 16th, 2002. The Commission granted them a certificate to operate as a reseller of intrastate, intralata, and intralata telecommunication services within Mississippi. On the 21st of April, NDA sent us a letter and offered to surrender its CPCN. NDA requested the cancellation of its own certificate, and so it will not need to come under the, will not have to complete the due process requirements of 77-321. The matter is going to be treated as a miscellaneous filing under Rule 10, and all those requirements have been met for y'all to make your decision. In its letter of April the 21st, NDA represented through its CEO that it no longer offers telecommunication services authorized by the certificate. It no longer offers any retail services within the state of Mississippi and provides only wholesale services to independent phone companies. For this reason, the Commission should accept NDA's offer of surrender of its certificate and proceed with cancellation of the CPCN in this docket, removing NDA from the Commission's utility database.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Number 8, discussion and possible action regarding the proposed order in docket number 2021 AD 019, Mississippi Public Service Commission's net metering and interconnection rules. Final order amending rules. Ms. Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Commissioners. As the Commission is aware, on July 12th this year, a final order was entered adopting certain changes to what was previously the net metering and interconnection rules. Thereafter, both Entergy and Mississippi Power moved the Commission for rehearing, and that motion was granted. And as you know, public rehearing was conducted here last week on September 27th. During rehearing, the Commission heard comments from a total of 17 interested parties, including both interveners and individuals who appeared to make comment at the hearing. At the conclusion of the hearing, the Commission voted unanimously to take the matter under advisement. At this point, the procedural record in this matter has been pretty exhaustive. After carefully considering all of the comments, both written and oral, that have been filed or submitted over the past 21 months, Commission staff has prepared an order setting forth the following changes to the Mississippi Distributed Generation Rule. First, the order determines that the July 2022 rule revisions permitting aggregation of meters by a single customer should be removed from the modified distributed generation rule. Next, the order finds that the 3% participation caps contained in the original Mississippi Renewable Energy Net Metering Rule should be reinserted into the distributed generation rule. The order also acknowledges that nothing precludes the Commission from increasing those participation caps at a later date based upon information that arises through implementation of the rule. As a result of rehearing, the order also states that distributed generation capacity limits should continue to be measured in terms of direct current rather than alternating current, as was revised in the July 2020 order. In addition, eligible system size shall now be measured as, quote, the lesser of either 110% of the customer's annual peak demand or 20 kilowatts for residential customers or 2 megawatts for non-residential customers. In addition to this, and based on comments that came during the original hearings and rehearing, consumer protection provisions, including specific registration requirements for solar developers and installers, have been added to the distributed generation rule in order to offer DG customers some level of protection by ensuring that the developers and installers have been authorized to conduct business in Mississippi by the Secretary of State, that they've attested to the accuracy of their marketing materials, and that they've provided necessary contact information to the state so that they can be reached in the event any problems arise down the road. Next, what was previously known as the low-income benefits adder has been renamed to the low to moderate income benefits adder. and the eligibility for that adder has been modified to include customers with annual household incomes up to 225% of the federal poverty level. Additionally, in light of the Commission's replacement of the 3% participation caps, the reopener provision of the rule has been revised to simply state that the Commission may revisit the rule within 5 years of its effective date. Of additional note, the 2.5 cent per kilowatt hour value adder and the 2 cent per kilowatt hour, per kilowatt hour LMI adder remain grandfathered in for periods of 25 years from the date at which the customer takes service. And provisions regarding solar for schools are still permitted. On that latter issue, I will turn it over to Mr. Hammonds to provide further information and description on the solar for schools.
Commissioners, the rule before you finds that economic benefits warrant reasonably incentivizing energy independence through cost reductions for renewable energy for K through 12 public schools, through power purchase agreements, renewable energy for low to moderate income residential customers, and residential battery storage systems that can accommodate and are compatible with any existing or future utility demand-side management or demand response programs. The utilities are directed to establish programs beginning on January 1st, 2023 that will continue for a period of 5 years. On the public K through 12 Solar for Schools program, the directive that the Commission is giving the utilities for those programs is the establishment of a power purchase agreement for those public K through 12 schools between the utilities. The power purchase agreement price shall be the EU's avoided cost of energy plus 4.5 cents. PPA shall be executed on a first-come, first-served basis and be for a period of 25 years. In order to promote consumer protection, the EUs are directed to implement pre-qualification components for third-party solar developers into its Solar for Schools program. The EUs are directed to consider pre-qualified entities with the Energy Division of MDA's Energy Office pursuant to Mississippi Code 31714, or the expansion of the EU's Trade Ally program to encompass the Solar for Schools program. On the another thing that's established is a low to moderate income energy independence incentive. This directs the utilities to offer a one-time $3,000 LMI incentive to any customer who qualifies for the Mississippi Distributed Generation Rules low to moderate incomes benefit adder. Prior to receiving an incentive, the residential customer shall conduct an EU-approved energy efficiency audit. The total annual incentive budget for Entergy Mississippi shall be $6 million. The total annual budget for Mississippi Power shall be $3 million. Lastly, the directive before you in the order establishes a residential demand response battery incentive at an amount of $2,000 to any residential customer participating under the rule who additionally does not receive an LMI incentive. Those customers will not be eligible for that incentive. Again, prior to receiving a battery incentive, the customer shall conduct an EU-approved energy efficiency audit. Budgets for that, Entergy Mississippi, $2 million, Mississippi Power Company, $1 million, and I can answer any questions y'all have on those.
Any questions? Any questions?
I don't have any question, but I want to speak to the issue just a minute. Mr. Hammonds, would it be fair to say that from the July order that the Commission approved to today, that there have been significant changes to the order that was put out in July?
I would agree with that statement.
And to be clear in the order, and this is just, there's been so much debate on this. And some people call it woke. I'm glad some people woke up to the fact that this has been going on for 20 months. And so the cap in July was 4%. That cap in this order goes down to 3%. Once this program, and I'm combining both utilities, it's 47 megawatts for Mississippi Power, it's 97 megawatts for Entergy, total of 141 megawatts. If by some reason, 12 months from now, those either mix of residential or solar for schools, or dominance by either one in that program, this order stops at that point. So the commission has put a hard cap on where this can go. So anybody that wants to characterize that this is some train off the track, Green New Deal, willy-nilly, we won't ever look back at it again, that is a factual lie. That's number one. Number two is, on the rebates to customers, it was $3,500 in July. That's been reduced down to $3,000. And for those of you paying attention to this, some of you finally paying attention to it, the issue related in the $3,500 to the $3,000 is that customers are bearing, at a minimum, 75% of their own money in one of these type of programs if they choose to participate. Would you say that's fair based on the calculations we know that the average cost of a system would be?
Yes, sir, I think that's
Okay.
correct.
So there's private money being put into this. This is not the government paying for the lion's share of anybody to participate in this program. You're looking at about a $13,000 system with a $3,000 incentive to participate in it. In the July order, the eligibility for participating in the program was 250%. That's been modified to 225%, which closes the participation circle a little bit. It was 200% in the 2015 order. It's 225. So that's been reduced from what was voted on in July in response to comments and public input. Thirdly, wherever I'm at in this, the addition of the $2,000 battery incentive, which has benefits for customers related to peak shaving, to continued service during a storm, that is new to this order and is available to anybody from Bill Gates to the poorest person in the state. That's been changed in this rule. Now, this docket has gone on for over 20 months. Over 20 months. And we have had now 4 hearings, 3 extensions of time. There have been 1,700 pages of documents filed in this docket. And there has been intense negotiations between utilities and interested parties over the past several weeks. And I think it would be fair to characterize that the rules and the tenets of this rule that come out today have been tenets and points that have been agreed upon between parties related to utilities and market participants. So that's a fact. That is a fact in this entire case. The other thing I would point out to you is on the solar for schools, which doesn't get a lot of attention. That's involved in the vote we're going to take here in just a minute. 85 of the 142 school districts in this state, 85 of them, can participate in this program with a projected cost savings and revenue stream to taxpayers of between $40,000 and $125,000 based upon the amount of acreage they own in public land or 16th section land. 85 of the 142 can participate. The ones that are outside that 85 are in TVA country or in a co-op area. Under the Solar for Schools initiative, the Commission is admonishing the school districts to look at 2 ways in which to treat that revenue: teacher pay and the elimination of the cost related to classroom supplies that parents and teachers have to pick up. I looked this up last night. So if you completely took this program and maxed it out, which anybody with walking around sense knows is not going to happen in the first year, probably ain't going to happen in the second year, might happen in the third year. On the average between the companies, you're looking at about $1.18 a month. So anybody that tells you that this is some huge rate increase, those are the numbers. Those are the numbers. And I'll say what I said from last week again. I saw some of it this morning. I just find it so strange that people that would write letters to this agency telling us to support a 45% rate increase, a 45% rate increase for a failed clean coal plant, now want to mischaracterize what we're trying to do. Now, I don't know if they can't add or subtract. I don't know what their problem is. But I know this. We've gone through 20 months of looking at evidence. We've gone through 20 months of hearing from the public. We've admonished the utilities to work with market participants, in which we've arrived at a place today in which utilities and market participants agree on the approach going forward. That's a fact. That is a complete, solid fact. So I don't want to hear any more about this being off the rails, this being some type of lurch to the left. Do the figures. Do them yourself. This enables us to be able to create opportunities for customers to have energy independence. It weakens the stranglehold that corporate monopolies have on citizens, and it gives folks a fair chance to participate. And to every one of you that's a taxpayer in a public school district that is represented by or is served by one of our investor-owned utilities, you get a benefit. So when you do that $1.13 out, that's $14.16 a month. When you reach the crest, and guess what happens when you reach the crest? It's a pause. It's a pause. It doesn't go on forever. There's a pause in there. Once you hit 3%, it stops for reevaluation. Now, I looked this up. I went on Amazon about 2:30 this morning to look at what parents and teachers are having to pay for, and I just pulled the first one that came up, the Amite County Elementary School. If your kid goes to the Amite County Elementary School, you're being asked to bring 2 boxes of Ziploc bags when school year starts. If you order them off of Amazon, you're going to pay $18.30 for them Ziploc bags. If you need to buy, $19.22. You're required to bring 3 canisters of Clorox wipes to class. That's $18.30. That's not counting paper plates. That's not counting Kleenexes. Those are just 2 of the items that are on the school district's list that mamas and daddies are having to pick up. And this program, fully costed out at its peak, is a $14.16 charge over a year. We are not talking about a 45% rate increase. As I said, I don't know if some people can't add and subtract. I don't know what that is, but those are the facts. And so in just what I pointed out there, you're looking at about $37.52 on 2 items in which we're creating a revenue stream for those school districts to eliminate or help that for all of the taxpayers and the school teachers. And that is something that needs to get in this. You're also stabilizing energy costs to public schools for 25 years. These projects have a 25-year locked-in power purchase agreement and or shared benefits and or leasing of public lands and 16th section lands. Can you imagine, with inflation where it is today, being able for our public schools to be able to lock in their energy costs for 25 years? And because these are fixed assets on public lands, because they are fixed assets by a private company on public lands, they are subject to pay ad valorem taxes to the county school district and to the county. So there's a lot of great benefits in here. And I think some who have wanted to express opinions about this have not taken time to understand that. Sure hadn't come, I haven't seen any of these people on the second floor of this building in 20 months talking about this issue. So it's easy to sit back and say something that sounds good for a minute, but this is hard work. And I know that we're not going to have a unanimous vote on that, but let me tell you this. These commissioners have worked hard from their points of view to try to come to agreements, and things you can agree on, you can agree on. If you can't, you can't. That's fair. And we're going to conduct ourselves like gentlemen and professionals. There's things you just can't agree on. That's government. And I just want to say to Commissioner Maxwell and Commissioner Bailey, thank you for your due diligence in this. You know, you ain't going to agree on everything, but the fact that we've tried to make a solid record, we hadn't tried, we have made a solid record after 20 months and trying to work together to represent our constituents. And so I feel it's very important to get these type of figures out there, to get these type of comparisons out there, and to release facts related to these programs. Now look, Brandon Presley's district is not going to benefit as much as the other 2 areas of the state. I represent a part of this state that's mainly served by electric cooperatives and TVA. But this is a chance in which for Mississippi to set a record and to have a chance to create added benefits and value to it. And I just want to say to the parties, I know all of y'all don't like what we're about to vote on. I get that too. But thank you for your participation. Thank you to those who took time to come down here last week. And I would just call your attention to the record. I submitted comments on Friday related to the policies of net metering and renewable energy from the Evangelical Environmental Network, a pro-life clean energy organization, Clear Path Foundation, a conservative pro-energy foundation, Tusk, Tell Utilities Solar Won't Be Killed, a conservative pro-solar group chaired by U.S. Representative Barry Goldwater Jr., the American Conservative Coalition, Conservatives for Responsible Stewardship. And those are in the record and were filed on Friday. Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me that time.
Yes, sir.
Feel like I need to say something.
I don't know. I think he said it all.
I think Commissioner did a good job there. So, I mean, Ms. Dixon certainly used some good, I guess, superlatives or adjectives in describing the process. It has been exhaustive. It has been comprehensive, and it has gone over a long time. And I know there's been a lot of back and forth amongst the staff, amongst the commission, amongst the parties involved in trying to find a sensible path forward. And I think this what we have, this plan before us, this revised rule with the exhibits included represents a sensitive path forward. We look a lot and we talk a lot, and we're very aware of the single energy resource that dominates the energy generation of this state. And if we're to continue to look at ways to diversify our energy portfolio, this is certainly an incremental way of doing that. I know this gets pigeonholed as a solar-only program, but if you look into it, this provides opportunities for a wide range of energy resource technologies and applications, from wind and solar to waste energy, hydrogen, biomass, and even under biomass, there's so many opportunities for rural sectors to participate in this from the resources the biomass sector can provide. So I hope folks understand the wide range of technological opportunities, the energy diversification benefits we have with this, as well as the job creation opportunities as local companies begin to expand and build their technological knowledge and expertise to deliver a high-value, efficient product that's going to save consumers, schools, and others money down the road in the near term. As mentioned, this rule is built with many guardrails in it, both from budgetary to system size and other means. And I'm very comfortable with how this has been designed and allow us to continue to go forward with smart investments in our infrastructure, in our customers, in the belief that our schools are going to do the right thing in helping their students and helping their systems be more responsive and budgetary-minded school districts and return those savings back into their systems. I appreciate, again, the work of my colleagues, the work that they've put into it, and everybody who's participated, all the stakeholders. I know it has been an arduous process, and my hat's off to everybody here, but we have a clear path at this point, and I think we're going to move forward.
Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion?
Motion approved. The
Second.
All right.
All in favor? I'm voting no, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed is me, no. So the motion passed. Now, is there any other business before the commission today?
I just want to say also welcome to new Director Beckett.
Yep.
He hails from Calhoun County, the sweet potato capital of the world, and they're grabbing those sweet potatoes out of the ground right now. Right now, every day. Glad to have you here.
Welcome. Now, before I adjourn, y'all get to listen to me. All right? Because I think there's been some confusion as I got lit up, and I wish I could articulate this as well as he does, but I'm going to read it from a statement because I want to spread this out on the minutes so there is no question. Because if you spread it on the minutes, that means it is there forever. And I want everybody to be clear on where I'm at because I've gotten some issues with people that think I don't support solar. So I'm going to read this. I can't articulate it as well, so I got to read it as he does. And also my 12-word a minute typing. I read faster than typing, but I'll hope not to make any mistakes. So I'd say I'd like to take this moment to make a few comments and hopefully set the record straight on a few things regarding renewables and traditional energy projects on the one hand and the net metering rate docket on the other. There seems to be confusion between the orders issued in support of renewable projects and the net metering docket, which concerns rates and subsidization. First, regarding renewables and traditional energy projects, the Mississippi Public Service Commission, MPSC, has been out front making certain that all forms of energy are embraced in our state. It needs to be clear that approvals of all forms of energy, traditional and renewable forms of energy, have been embraced by all three commissioners consistently. We do, from time to time, go to our separate districts, Southern, Central, and Northern, to facilitate public meetings and recommend commission actions. However, the law is clear. The MPSC acts as one commission, and no single commissioner has the ability to make laws. At the end of the day, no single commissioner can order anything on behalf of the commission. Part of our job is to represent the needs of the people of our respective districts, hear from these constituents, and make recommendations to the MPSC as their elected commissioner. And we are able to come back to this courtroom and enact law and regulation as one commission. There have been several solar projects that have been recommended by me and my fellow commissioners, and I have voted for and approved every one of them. I have supported and will continue to support all forms of energy. Mississippians need good, reliable energy that is reasonably priced to customers. Now, to my second point, speaking of reasonably priced and how changing the current net metering rule affects rates for customers. The law requires that rates be just and reasonable. The statutory requirement of just and reasonable rates is satisfied when the rates are cost-based according to the Mississippi Supreme Court. This is why we do cost studies at the MPSC to ensure that cost causers pay for costs that are incurred by their conduct and choices. That may sound like legal mumbo-jumbo, and maybe it is, but most importantly, it is the law in the state of Mississippi until the legislature changes it. The reason I have consistently voted against the new net metering rule is that it just doesn't sit right with me to give certain customers a subsidy paid for by other similar customers. Here's an example. I can't comfortably say to one customer, you must pay 11 cents per kilowatt, to another, you don't have to pay that. Let's require the first person running a single-parent household to subsidize the second one by giving the second one a $3,000 gift, while forcing the first person running a single household to pick up that cost in the rates paid by that family. The people in my district that elected me know that this is not just and certainly not reasonable. As stated in Pittman versus Mississippi PSC, subsidization would ultimately result. One group would bear the burden, but the other group would gain the benefit. This is the law I apply when I issue orders on cost and rates. Personally, I welcome anyone who wants to use any form of energy they want. I believe the commission has done our best to promote energy diversity. As for me, I welcome anyone that wants to build a solar or wind farm, and I will vote for and have voted for every single one of those facilities that have met the legal requirements. However, I draw the line on any of my constituents paying more than others to have their lights on 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That is not just, and it's not reasonable. We are facing energy costs that have increased over the past year with natural gas prices going from $2.70 to $9, tripling the cost of natural gas to generate electricity. Both increases have Mississippians have already in a strain at the grocery store and the gas pump. This is not the time to place even more strain on the ratepayers. By implementing change in our current net metering rule, thank you for listening to me and understanding my position on behalf of the hardworking Mississippians that elected me and work hard to pay their utility bills. So with that, if there's nothing else, we're adjourned. Oh, you had something? Oh.
The number of special contract rates